Many times in our lives, we talk about, when we are new Christians, how the Holy Spirit used to come when you pray, say, Jesus, and He's there, right? You pray and God's presence shows up. Remember those early Christian days? Remember those times? But as time goes by, what happens? Right? Slowly God seems to withdraw, and all of a sudden, where is God? We're crying and screaming and begging God to come and show up. And many people, when I was a pastor, people used to tell me, all these old people, oh, when I was young, I was passionate for God. Oh, when I was young, I was doing all kinds of ministry, and I was seeking God. I used to pray this many hours. Oh, when I was young, they talk about the past. I said, what happened now? Shouldn't you get better? Right? Why has it gone backward? When you're playing hide and go seek, we play hide and seek as kids, right? How you play with a 2-year-old will be different than how you play with a 15-year-old. You agree? With a 2-year-old, you'll go and hide in places that he can find you. Okay? Just some visible places next to a corner, next to the door. And the little kid comes running, oh, I got you. And you're like, oops, you caught me. That little kid, don't make it harder for him. You make it so easy for that little kid to find you. But when you're a 15-year-old kid and you're playing hide and go seek, 15-year-old teenager, I say, you don't just hide next to a door. You'll find some, a tree, or paint yourself in some color and dig a hole and hide somewhere that's so hard. Bury yourself with all bushes and everything and make it so difficult for him to find. See, how you play this game with a 2-year-old and a 15-year-old is different. That's the same thing that happens in Christianity. God likes to play hide and go seek with you. Okay? When you are a new Christian, you're only 2 years old, you're fresh, you're saying, Daddy, God, Father, immediately He shows up. Okay, He's there. He's there for you because you're just growing like a little baby. When it cries, immediately the parents come running in because the baby cannot express itself. They're always there. Right? So, but as we grow in maturity in our Christian walk, God just doesn't show up like He did when you're a 2-year-old kid. He expects you to grow and seek Him and find Him and knock and ask and seek. This is a process of your Christian journey. But as you're maturing more and more and more and more, God will become obvious more and more. He said, seek and you shall find. It's a promise. Right? So imagine Tapan's child was 2 years old. He can't speak yet. And he says, if the baby is hungry, he'll just cry. And you'll see, okay, you'll decode what his cry is and say, oh, he's hungry. Okay, you got to go and feed something. Oh, he needs his diaper change. You decipher based on what the kid is crying. But imagine Tapan's son is now 15 years old. And one day, he comes and sits at the dining table and he's crying. And he's crying and saying, I'm hungry. You're like, grow up. You're 15 years old. Go to the refrigerator, get the stuff and eat. You see, your expectations for him are different. If he sits there at the dining table and he cries, you think something is seriously wrong with my kid. You see? But what is happening in Christianity is people are sitting in churches still drinking milk. Right? If a sermon is hard, they'll say, oh, somebody changed the formula. In my milk. It's a little hard, and they cry and whine about it. Right? That's the problem. Because Paul says, stop drinking milk, you should be eating meat. What is the difference between milk and meat? Milk is the product of the cow. Meat is the cow itself. Okay? So you're drinking the byproducts of sermons from somebody else. But you need to eat the cow itself, meaning you need to partake in acquiring the revelation and the knowledge from God Himself. That is growing in maturity. Okay, and I'll conclude with this illustration. Then you can ask whatever question you want based on that. For example, say there are three women standing. Okay, three women were standing, and Jesus walks to the first woman and doesn't say anything. Goes to the second woman and gives her a smile. And he goes to the third woman and he talks with her for a long time. So my question to you is, who does he love the most? See, the first one, she didn't need anything else from God. She already had that deep intimacy with God. Jesus just needed to look at her and walk past her because she already has that intimacy. The second one needed a little bit of encouragement. So Jesus gave her a smile. But the third one, since he's so immature, Jesus had to wait and talk and talk and talk and talk, right? So that she can come to that place and, okay, I'll grow, okay, I'll do this, Lord, okay. You see, that's the difference. But in Christianity, we think, right, people who are, if Jesus talks the most, they are the ones who have a deep intimacy with God, right? Wrong. That's wrong. There are people who raise up their hands and sing praises and dance in the churches who don't know who God is. There are people like that. And there are people who could be standing with their hands folded in the church who don't lift up their hands, don't know how to sing, whatever. They might have some deep intimacy with God. You cannot judge by that. So maturity doesn't come with time automatically. Remember that. Spiritual maturity doesn't come with time. It comes with knowing your God. How much are you spending time with Him? These are the things that determine how much you know Him. Does it make sense? So spiritual maturity comes with spending time with God, not necessarily because of how old you are and how long you've been a Christian. That never happens that way. Otherwise, we won't have 80-year-old babies sitting in churches for fighting politics. You won't have those. I know 20-year-old mature spiritual people. I know 80-year-old babies sitting in churches. That's the tragedy of Christianity.